Aaron carried a tray of steaming drinks carefully through the golden halls of the Emperor's palace. The lights shimmered on the polished floor, and the air smelled faintly of flowers and spices from distant worlds. He had been a waiter on this luxury cruise for years, and he had learned how to move quietly, how to avoid drawing attention. Today, though, felt different. The Emperor of Zorith, the most powerful alien in the galaxy, had arrived with his small, prized dragon hatchling, and the palace was alive with excitement and tension. Aaron had seen dragons before, but only in pictures or statues. This one was alive, tiny and trembling, with scales that glimmered like melted gold. Its eyes were wide and innocent, and it looked more afraid than anything else in the palace. The hatchling was carried in a soft, velvet cradle by an attendant who seemed distracted, whispering nervously to other staff. As Aaron moved past a row of alien nobles, he noticed the hatchling suddenly shift and try to climb out. The attendant, startled, stumbled backward, and the cradle tilted dangerously. Aaron's heart jumped. No one else seemed to notice. The nobles were busy whispering, and the palace guards were far away. Without thinking, Aaron stepped closer. "Careful," he muttered, but the words went unheard. The cradle tipped a little more, and the baby dragon squeaked, a high, frightened sound that made Aaron's stomach tighten. He knew he had to act. The human waiter ducked under the velvet rope and reached out with both hands. His fingers barely touched the cradle when it shifted again, sending the hatchling closer to the edge. Aaron moved quickly, catching the tiny creature just as it slipped. The dragon's little claws dug into his palms, but it made no noise. Instead, it trembled and blinked at him with large liquid eyes. Aaron froze for a moment. Around him, the palace buzzed with chatter, but no one came to help. He realized that everyone thought he was just a servant, a human who did not matter. That was fine. He did not care about praise. All he cared about was keeping the hatchling safe. "Easy, little one," he whispered softly, rocking it gently. The dragon seemed to sense his kindness. Its trembling slowed, and it let Aaron hold it without struggling. The tiny golden wings fluttered slightly as if testing the air. Aaron smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. This small creature trusted him completely. He looked around quickly. The palace guards were still busy elsewhere, and the nobles were deep in conversation. No one had noticed the missing hatchling yet. Aaron's mind raced. He could not put it down in the open hallway. Something might happen. Someone might bump into it, or it might fall again. He needed a safe place and fast. Aaron spotted a narrow corridor leading to the back of the palace. It was not on the usual route for guests or guards. He carefully carried the hatchling, moving quietly, avoiding the creaking floor panels. Every step felt tense, like walking on a tightrope. The dragon watched him with bright eyes, occasionally twitching its tail. Aaron spoke softly, telling it about the flowers he had seen in the gardens, about the stars outside the palace, trying to calm it. Finally, he reached a small storage room filled with pillows and empty crates. It was not grand or beautiful, but it was safe. Aaron set the hatchling down gently on a soft pillow. The dragon nuzzled it and let out a tiny, satisfied purr. Aaron crouched nearby, keeping a watchful eye. For a moment he just looked at it. It was so small, so fragile, yet it carried the pride of an entire empire. He heard footsteps approaching and froze. A guard passed by the doorway, but Aaron remained still, hiding behind a crate. The guard did not see him and continued down the hallway. Aaron exhaled slowly. He had never felt more alive, more important, than in this moment. No one in the palace knew his name, but he had done something no one else had. The human waiter had saved the Emperor's precious hatchling. The dragon looked up at him, its golden eyes wide and trusting. Aaron felt a strange connection, as if the little creature understood him in a way no one else ever had. He smiled and whispered, "Don't worry. You're safe now. I'll keep you safe." For the first time in his life, Aaron realized that being small, unnoticed, or unimportant did not matter. What mattered was what one could do when it counted. And right now, he had done the one thing that no one else dared or cared to do. As the palace bells chimed in the distance, announcing the Emperor's presence, Aaron knew that the real challenge had just begun. Keeping the hatchling safe in a palace full of curious eyes and powerful beings would not be easy. But he felt ready. For the first time, he was not just a waiter. He was someone who could change the way the galaxy saw humans. And the baby dragon, still nestled on the pillow, seemed to agree. Aaron stayed crouched near the hatchling, watching the little golden dragon breathe softly on the pillow. Its tiny chest rose and fell like a leaf in the wind. The palace was quiet here, but he knew it would not stay that way for long. Someone would notice soon, and if the Emperor's dragon was missing, the consequences could be terrible. The hatchling trembled again, looking around nervously. Aaron reached out a hand, letting it sniff his fingers. The dragon's small head tilted, and for a moment, it seemed to understand that Aaron meant no harm. "It's okay," he whispered. "I won't let anything happen to you." Aaron glanced at the narrow hallway. Guards could appear at any second. He needed a plan. He looked around the storage room and found a stack of crates and pillows. He carefully lifted the dragon into his arms again, holding it close to his chest. The creature clung to him, tiny claws pressing into his shirt, but it did not struggle. Aaron smiled. Trust was everything. He moved slowly toward a side door he had seen earlier. It led to the service corridors where fewer people passed. The dragon's tiny wings flapped a little as if testing the space around them. "Not yet," Aaron murmured. "We need to be safe first." He crouched lower, making himself smaller, moving like a shadow along the wall. Suddenly, a loud clatter echoed from the hallway. Aaron froze. A maid had dropped a tray of glasses outside. The noise made the hatchling squeak and press closer to him. Aaron whispered softly, stroking its tiny back. "Shh, it's okay. Don't be afraid." The dragon's eyes blinked and it seemed to calm slightly. Aaron waited, counting to 10 in his head, then moved again. He could hear the palace guards' boots echoing in the distance. They were looking for the missing hatchling. Aaron's heart pounded, but he forced himself to stay calm. Panic would only make the dragon scared. He had to think like the palace, like the guards, like anyone who would search for it. He reached the side door and peeked outside. The corridor was empty. Aaron moved quickly but carefully, keeping the hatchling close to his chest. He thought about the Emperor. He had heard stories that the Emperor's dragons were highly sensitive, and any harm could make the Emperor angry. That thought made Aaron's hands sweat, but he did not let fear stop him. Halfway down the corridor, a sudden noise made him freeze again. 2 guards appeared at the far end, their bright helmets reflecting the lights above. Aaron crouched behind a crate, holding the hatchling close. He thought fast. He noticed a small maintenance hatch in the wall, just big enough for him to squeeze through. If he could get there, he could hide until the guards passed. He moved slowly, inch by inch. The dragon's small claws dug gently into his arms and Aaron whispered, "Almost there, just a little further." When he reached the hatch, he opened it carefully and slid inside. It was dark, tight, and smelled like old oil and metal, but it was safe. The guards' boots echoed past and Aaron held his breath until they were gone. Inside the hatch, he set the dragon down on a soft cloth he found. The hatchling blinked at him and let out a tiny squeak. Aaron smiled. "See? Safe," he said. The dragon sniffed the cloth, then curled up, resting its little head on Aaron's hand. Aaron felt a warmth in his chest he had never known. He had saved this tiny creature and it trusted him completely. Aaron thought about what would happen next. The Emperor would notice the hatchling was gone soon. People would search everywhere. He needed a plan to keep the dragon hidden until he could return it safely. He looked around the hatch and noticed a small ventilation shaft. It was narrow, but maybe the dragon could fit inside if he carried it carefully. It could lead to a less busy part of the palace. He picked up the hatchling again and whispered, "We're not done yet. Stay close." The dragon nestled against him, wings tucked, trusting him completely. Aaron moved slowly, lifting the hatch cover and lowering himself into the shaft. It was tight, dark, and a little scary, but he kept going. Every step counted. Every careful movement could make the difference between safety and disaster. After what felt like forever, he emerged in a small hidden room behind the main kitchens. It was quiet and no one ever came here. Aaron set the hatchling down. It blinked around, then climbed onto his shoulder as if to say thank you. Aaron laughed quietly. "You're brave, you know that?" The dragon squeaked in reply, and Aaron felt a connection stronger than anything he had ever known. Outside, the palace bells rang, announcing the Emperor's presence. Aaron knew he could not stay hidden forever. The real challenge was just beginning. He had saved the hatchling, but now he had to find a way to keep it safe in a palace full of powerful eyes and curious people. But for now, in that small hidden room with the little golden dragon trusting him completely, Aaron felt proud. He had done something no one else dared. And in that moment he knew that being small, being human, did not mean being powerless. Sometimes, courage and kindness mattered more than anything else. The dragon blinked at him again and Aaron whispered, "We'll get through this. I promise." And for the first time he believed it. The Emperor stormed through the palace halls, his long golden robes brushing the polished floors. His face was set in a mask of worry and anger. The baby dragon, the pride of his empire, had vanished. Every attendant and guard had been searched, but no one knew where it had gone. The Emperor's eyes narrowed as he thought about who could be responsible. Meanwhile, Aaron crouched in the hidden room, the dragon pressed safely against his chest. The hatchling had calmed down but still trembled slightly. Aaron whispered softly, "It's okay. I'm here. I won't let anyone hurt you." The dragon blinked slowly and nuzzled his hand. Aaron's heart swelled with relief. He had never felt such responsibility, and yet he felt proud. He had saved something priceless, something even the Emperor could not replace. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside the hidden room. Aaron froze, holding the dragon tightly. The footsteps stopped, then a deep, commanding voice called, "I know someone is here." The Emperor had found him. Aaron's mind raced. He had to act fast. The dragon squeaked nervously, pressing closer to him. Aaron stepped forward, showing himself, holding the hatchling in his arms. His voice shook slightly, but he said firmly, I found it. I have it safe." The Emperor stopped in his tracks. He looked at Aaron, a mere human waiter, standing calmly in front of him with the hatchling. The guards behind him stiffened, unsure of what would happen next. The Emperor's eyes shifted from the small human to the golden dragon and back again. "Why?" the Emperor asked, his voice low and questioning. "Why did you take it?" Aaron swallowed hard. "Because it was in danger. No one else noticed. No one else cared. I just wanted to help." The Emperor's eyes widened. He had expected excuses, lies, maybe even fear. But not this simple, honest answer. Not this courage from a human he had barely acknowledged before. He had always seen humans as small, weak creatures, useful only for menial work. Yet here was one human who had risked everything for his precious hatchling. The dragon moved slightly in Aaron's arms, tilting its tiny head as if it also understood the moment. The Emperor felt a strange sensation, a mixture of surprise, admiration, and curiosity. He had never seen a human act without seeking reward, without thinking of honor or fear. This human had done something extraordinary, and he had done it out of kindness alone. "You risked your life," the Emperor said quietly, almost to himself, "for this creature." Aaron nodded. "Yes. It needed help. I couldn't let it be hurt." The Emperor stepped closer. The dragon squeaked softly but did not struggle. Instead, it looked at the Emperor, then back at Aaron. The Emperor knelt slightly, keeping his distance but observing the human carefully. He reached out a long, clawed hand, hovering near the dragon, and the hatchling did not flinch. Aaron's calm presence seemed to give it courage. "This is unusual," the Emperor muttered. "No human has ever acted with such care. Such understanding." He paused, thinking. "They serve, yes. They clean, they carry, they work. But they do not protect. They do not act for others without thought of reward." Aaron looked down at the hatchling, stroking its golden scales gently. "I don't want reward. I just wanted it safe." The Emperor's expression softened. He could see the sincerity in the human's eyes, the quiet strength behind his actions. A thought occurred to him: perhaps humans were not weak after all. Perhaps they were unpredictable, clever, and brave in ways his own kind could not understand. The dragon, sensing the shift, moved slightly and rubbed its head against Aaron's shoulder. Aaron smiled softly. "See? It knows we're friends." The Emperor leaned back, his mind racing. He had underestimated humans for centuries. This small creature, this human, had shown him something new: loyalty, courage, empathy. Traits that his own court often lacked. Traits that could be valuable, even powerful, in the galaxy. Finally the Emperor spoke, his voice calm but firm. "You have saved my hatchling. You have done what none of my guards could do. You have my attention, human." Aaron blinked, surprised by the praise. He had never expected this. All he had wanted was to keep the dragon safe. Now the Emperor, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, was looking at him with respect. The dragon chirped softly, nuzzling Aaron once more. The Emperor watched, his eyes softening further. He realized that this human, so small and humble, had something no alien in his court possessed: a heart capable of great courage and love. For the first time, the Emperor began to see humans differently. Not as servants, not as weak creatures, but as beings capable of true heroism, of kindness, of loyalty. Aaron lowered the dragon back onto the soft cloth, keeping a careful hand on it. "It's safe now," he said. The Emperor nodded slowly. "Yes, it is safe. Thanks to you." He looked at the human one last time. "Remember this day, human. The galaxy may need more like you." Aaron felt a strange warmth. He had not sought praise, yet he had changed the mind of one of the most powerful beings in existence. And the tiny dragon, the creature he had saved, blinked up at him as if to say, "We did this together." The Emperor rose and with one last look left the room, leaving Aaron and the hatchling alone. The human waiter's heart still pounded, but now it was not fear, it was pride. He had acted with courage and in doing so had changed how the Emperor saw humanity forever. And somewhere deep inside, Aaron knew this was only the beginning. Aaron stayed in the quiet room with the baby dragon, watching it curl on a soft pillow. The creature's tiny body rose and fell as it slept, and the golden scales shimmered in the faint light. Aaron felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had never been so close to something so precious. He had saved it and now it trusted him completely. For a moment he allowed himself to relax. But he knew this peace would not last. The palace was full of people, and news of the missing hatchling would spread quickly. Guards and servants would be searching, and if anyone discovered the dragon hidden here, trouble would come. Aaron looked down at the tiny creature, and it blinked at him with large, trusting eyes. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'll keep you safe." Hours passed. Aaron stayed hidden, bringing the dragon small pieces of food from the kitchens and water in a tiny bowl he had found. The hatchling gradually grew more comfortable with him. It nuzzled his hand and sometimes it even climbed onto his shoulder. Aaron smiled, realizing that the little dragon had started to see him as more than just a human, it saw him as a friend. Aaron thought about what had happened earlier with the Emperor. The powerful alien had looked at him differently, with respect and curiosity. Aaron had never expected that. He was just a waiter, a human nobody noticed. Yet now the Emperor's view of humans had begun to change because of what Aaron had done. That thought made Aaron feel both proud and nervous. As the day went on, the dragon began to explore the small room more freely. It walked on Aaron's arms, hopped onto crates, and even tried to flap its tiny wings. Aaron laughed softly. "You're brave, little one," he said. "I think you'll grow up to be even stronger than they imagine." The hatchling chirped happily, its small eyes bright. Aaron realized that the bond between them was growing stronger. The dragon depended on him, but in some way he also depended on it. He had never felt this kind of connection with anyone before. It was not about power or wealth, it was trust, loyalty, and understanding. Humans and dragons had formed a bond that even the Emperor could not ignore. Outside the hidden room, the palace continued as usual. Guards patrolled the halls, servants carried trays of food, and nobles whispered in excitement. Yet inside this quiet corner, a tiny human and a tiny dragon were changing each other. Aaron thought about how small and unnoticed humans usually were in the galaxy. But he realized that sometimes, being small allowed him to act in ways that others could not. He could move quietly, think quickly, and show kindness without expectation. The dragon climbed onto Aaron's shoulder again and nudged his cheek. Aaron laughed softly. "You really like me, don't you?" he asked. The hatchling chirped and pressed closer. Aaron smiled, feeling a sense of pride. He had earned this trust, and it was stronger than any reward he could ever receive. Suddenly, Aaron heard footsteps approaching outside the door. His heart jumped. Could it be the guards? He looked at the hatchling. "Stay calm," he whispered. The dragon blinked as if understanding. Aaron held it close to his chest and crouched low behind a crate. The footsteps paused, then moved on. He exhaled slowly. Every moment felt tense, but he had learned to stay calm, to think quickly, and to protect what mattered. Over the next few days, Aaron continued to care for the hatchling in secret. He learned its habits, what it liked to eat, and how it reacted to different sounds. The dragon, in turn, began to show affection. Small gestures like nuzzling his hands, curling around his arms, and following him when he moved. Aaron realized that this bond was more than just trust. It was friendship. He also noticed that the dragon seemed unusually smart. It could understand simple commands and seemed to anticipate his actions. Aaron whispered to himself, "They underestimate you, little one. But together we can do something great." He felt a quiet determination. Humans were small, fragile, and often overlooked, but with courage, empathy, and intelligence, they could achieve extraordinary things. One evening, Aaron sat quietly with the hatchling on his lap, watching the stars through a small window. He thought about the Emperor and how he had seen humans differently now. He knew that this bond he shared with the dragon could change more than just their lives. Perhaps it could change how the entire empire viewed humans, small, overlooked, but capable of courage, kindness, and brilliance. The dragon let out a soft chirp and nuzzled his hand. Aaron smiled. "We'll show them," he whispered. "We'll show them what humans can do." The hatchling blinked, golden eyes bright as if agreeing. Aaron felt a surge of hope. Together they were more than a human and a dragon. They were a team united by trust, bravery, and heart. Aaron knew the real challenge was still ahead. Keeping the dragon safe in a palace full of powerful beings would not be easy. But for the first time he felt ready. Not because he was strong or important, but because he had courage, cleverness, and a friend who believed in him. And sometimes that was enough to change the world. As night fell, the little dragon curled up on his shoulder and Aaron whispered softly, "We're in this together. Always." The stars outside twinkled as if answering him. In that quiet moment, a human and a dragon formed a bond that no one, not even an emperor, could ignore. And Aaron knew, deep in his heart, that this bond was only the beginning. The palace was quieter now, the evening settling over the golden halls like a soft blanket. Aaron carried the baby dragon carefully through the corridors, making sure no one saw them. The hatchling perched on his shoulder, tiny claws gripping gently, and chirped softly as if asking where they were going. Aaron smiled. "Don't worry. You'll be safe soon," he whispered. He led the little creature to a secluded garden at the back of the palace. Flowers glowed under the soft lights and a small fountain bubbled quietly. It was the perfect place to rest, and the dragon seemed to sense it. It climbed down from Aaron's shoulder and walked on the soft grass, sniffing the flowers and stretching its tiny wings. Aaron laughed quietly. "See? Not so scary here, right?" The dragon chirped happily in reply. Aaron sat on a bench watching the hatchling explore. He thought about everything that had happened. The accident, the rescue, the Emperor's awe, and the bond he had formed with this little creature. Humans were often overlooked in the galaxy, treated as weak or unimportant. But right now, Aaron realized that humans had something others did not: empathy, courage, and the ability to act without expectation. The Emperor appeared then, quietly stepping into the garden. He did not shout or demand. He stopped at a distance, watching Aaron and the dragon. Aaron felt a little nervous but did not move. He kept the dragon in his lap, stroking its golden scales gently. The hatchling looked up at him, then at the Emperor, and chirped softly. "You have done something remarkable, human," the Emperor said, his voice calm and thoughtful. "You have shown me that humans are not weak, not simple, not unworthy. You acted with courage and kindness when no one else would." Aaron blinked, surprised. I just wanted it to be safe," he said softly. "That's all." The Emperor nodded. "And in doing so, you have shown me a truth I had never seen before. Humans are capable of great things, even beyond what my court could imagine. You have changed how I see your people." The words made Aaron's chest swell. He had never expected such praise, and yet here it was. Not because he wanted it, but because he had acted from the heart. He looked down at the dragon, and it chirped again, tiny wings fluttering. Aaron smiled. "We did it together," he said softly. The Emperor stepped closer, studying the hatchling. "It trusts you," he said. "And in trusting you, it has taught me something important. That sometimes, greatness comes from those no one notices." He paused. "I believe humans like you could become valuable allies to my empire." Aaron's mind raced. He had never imagined that his simple act could reach so far. He was just a waiter, a human nobody paid attention to, yet he had changed the Emperor's view of his entire species. It was a thought both thrilling and humbling. The little dragon climbed onto Aaron's shoulder again, chirping as if celebrating. Aaron laughed quietly. "You like the Emperor, don't you?" he said. The hatchling chirped in response, then pressed against him. Aaron felt a strange pride. He had saved it, and now it had not only survived but helped him change the galaxy's view of humans. The Emperor watched them for a long moment, then nodded. "Take care of it," he said finally. "It is your responsibility now. And in doing so, you will continue to prove that humans are capable of more than I ever imagined." Aaron bowed slightly. "I will," he said. "I promise." The Emperor turned and left the garden, leaving Aaron and the hatchling alone. The garden was quiet again, but this time it felt different. Aaron felt a new strength inside him, a confidence that had not been there before. He realized that humans, even small and overlooked, could make a real difference. One act of courage, one act of kindness, could ripple across the galaxy. Aaron stood and walked through the garden, the dragon perched on his shoulder. They moved together, careful but unafraid, knowing that they had changed something bigger than themselves. The hatchling chirped happily and Aaron laughed softly. He had gone from a simple waiter to someone who had earned the trust of the Emperor and the friendship of a dragon. He thought about the future. Perhaps humans would be underestimated again, perhaps even tomorrow, but now he knew they had something no one could take away: heart, courage, and the ability to act when it mattered most. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to change the galaxy. As the stars shimmered above the palace, Aaron looked down at the tiny golden dragon. "We've started something new," he whispered. something they'll never forget. The dragon chirped in agreement, nuzzling him gently. And in that quiet moment, Aaron understood something powerful. Sometimes the smallest hands could do the greatest things. And the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. Together, human and dragon, they walked back toward the palace, ready for whatever came next. The bond they had formed, trust, courage and friendship, would last far longer than the night, far beyond the palace walls. It was a bond that could change the stars themselves. And somewhere, in the mind of the Emperor, the first seeds of a new understanding had taken root. Humans, though small, were not to be ignored.